I'm Mary, I'm an animal pet communicator, and welcome to this reading for the Earth signs Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Before I get started, I'd just like to say a big thank you to Amira for the opportunity to do this reading for you all on her channel. Also, if you would like a pet reading for your pet, you can go to amirasalon.com and you'll find me there under the readers. And a pet reading, what that consists of, you send me a photo of your pet, the name of the pet, any questions you might have about your pet, and as an animal communicator, I chat with them and pass on any messages they have for you. I'm using the Druid Animal Oracle cards, and the spread is called The Spirit of the Circle. First card is the boar, and this is in the spirit of yourself. This card represents any kind of development that you're attaining to within yourself, any characteristics that you're aspiring to, or anything that you're wanting to develop more. What I'm hearing is belief. You know, earth signs, the message of this card is one of development. It's one of where it's kind of saying whatever potential you think you have, quadruple it, because basically you have absolutely no idea just how much more potential you have. So it's a great card, and at the same time, with that kind of a message, there's a strong sense of believing in yourself, a strong sense of letting inhibitions go, giving things a go, and how can you know or even taste just how much potential you have without doing and being. So that's the message coming through for the earth elements for the next couple of months. And there's another feeling too, that developing this belief of just how much potential you have, and you know, it's like the boar is coming out of the woods, so it's like you earth signs are coming out of the woods and are developing this belief. Also, you know, when you think about the boar, it's quite a sturdy animal and a noisy animal too. The other message too is that sometimes when we're going for or having a belief in our potential, it can seem at times laborious, right? Harnessing that potential like it's a laborious task. And the message in regards to that is that sometimes it's our inhibitions that can make it seem laborious. The other message too is not to think too much, because I'm noticing the helmet here, and it's like the message too is there's just so much more potential than you could even fathom right now. And so not to think too much, but you know, to do more of the actions, because it's the more actions you do, the more you can start to believe and have things happen that help you to develop this belief. Let's look at this card here. This card here is the adder, the snake, and this represents the spirit of our genes. You know, like our genetic makeup that can have an influence on us, our traits, our looks, and so on. It's a time, you know, in the next coming months, the next couple of months, there's this developing of belief. And this, here we have this spirit of the genes, this card of transformation, of rising up and transforming, growing, expanding in various areas of your world. This card here is the frog, and it's the spirit of tribe, and that means it's our tribe, our cultural upbringing, the society we live in, and how it influences us and our element, right? And so we can have all the different elements, all 4 elements, earth, air, fire, water, all living within the same society, being brought up in the same culture, and yet each element can be impacted in a different way with a particular things going on. And what I'm sensing with this is that, how society and culture has been influencing you, particularly around this time, this month and the coming months, is the sense of waking up the sleeping giant. You may be noticing some things, relationships, your work and so on, where you're developing this belief about your potential and just how there's just so much more to you. And you're rising up to that, you're growing and expanding. And it's kind of like waking a sleeping giant. So society and culture has been influencing you in that way. So perhaps you may feel that you've been asleep and you're waking up, so to speak. And it can also mean for some of you as well that you may have felt that society doesn't get you, or something similar to that. Again, that has brought about this influence to get you to this place where you can start believing and that whatever potential you think you have, there's more. Now, when I look at this card here, this is the fire dragon, and this is the spirit of time. And time influences us, and such as the day and month we were born, that influences us because it's our sun sign. The era that we were born into, and the time you find yourself in right now, today, and in the coming months. When I look at this card, I get two feelings come up. Firstly, I get this huge feeling of joy. Secondly, I get a feeling of anger. So there's two total opposite feelings. So let me go with the joy one too. So the message I get with this card is that, there's this saying, when you're born, that in the other realms you had your ancestors, your spirit guides, and so on, right there, your guardian angel, and so on. So this message of joy that is coming through for you, earth elements, is to let you know, or to remind you, that the day you were born was a joyful celebration. Those in the spirit world were so happy, were so joyful that you were born. So the deeper message with that then, for you to remember that there's a reason you were born. And I don't want to go into like it's about life purpose and so on, and that, you're born to find your life purpose. All I'm saying is that this message coming through is to let you know there's a reason you were born. Those in the spirit world, your spirit guides and so on, your guardian angel and so on, were so joyful when you were born. So you're meant to be here. You're meant to be born in this time. And that's the message. It's the first message coming through. So rise up. Continue with this, developing your belief that there is just so much more to you, and that there is more potential within you than you can even imagine right now. The other message about this, the other thing that came through with this feeling of anger, right, is that I feel that either in September or October, you may be startled by something. What this card wants to let you know is that sometimes when something startles us, it's just a reminder. It's just asking you to rise up, expanding and growing. And the other thing too about this card is to just watch your energy as well. So that's a third message coming through. Make sure you get lots of rest as well, so that you don't burn out as well. Because there might be lots of things going on for you where you are realizing how much more there is to you, the potentials that you're starting to realize that's within you. And again, the message too is that there's so much more potential than you can even fathom within you, and that you're rising up, okay? So just to make sure that you watch your energy, watch your diet, make sure you're eating healthy, resting, and so on as you're going through this development. Let's have a look at this one here, the Ram. Now, this is in the spirit of place. The spirit of place represents how the places you've lived at, including the places that you've worked at, have an impact and influence you. So the place that you're in right now, as well as the place you work at right now, as well as the places you've lived at in your childhood and so on. And one of the first things I'm noticing when I look at the Ram is just how strong that head is, right? Look how strong it is. I just keep hearing the word bull-headed. The message coming through is that not to be too bull-headed in the coming months. And that makes sense when we take a look at your other cards that we've already looked at. The one about having this belief, right? You're developing this belief about how there is so much more to you, and that how there is so much more potential than you could even fathom, right? But then how can you start to have that, as you're developing this, sometimes we can be bull-headed, right? Sometimes we can be like, I know, there's nothing you can tell me. How can we rise up, ascend, grow if we think like that? So I feel that the message here is to try not to be too bull-headed. The other message too that is coming through is like to think back to your childhood or in the past, right? And think about traits you had in the past that you may not be utilizing as much now, and that maybe you should. I'm reminded of a trait that I had. So when I was younger, what I heard a lot in the past was people always said to me, oh, you're such a good listener, you're a great listener, thanks for listening, that sort of stuff. Because I would just listen, I wouldn't give my opinion, I would just listen to what they wanted to say, right? And then, a few years later, or at a different time in my life, I realized it kind of popped into my head that to remember that people used to say that to me all the time, that I was a great listener, and that how now, or at that time, people stopped saying that to me. So there came a time in my life when I never heard it, when I never heard anyone say to me, oh, thanks for listening, you're such a great listener. And so I paid attention to that had, come up for me, that I had started thinking about that. And so I started to draw back on that trait. I started to begin listening more again. And I realized that I had gotten to a place where I'd be listening to someone but couldn't wait to have my say, right? So I was being guided at that time to draw back on a trait from, my past. So I feel that message is coming through for you, Earth signs. Think back to the past. Think back to some traits that you had, or a trait that you had in the past that you can actually utilize right now and in the next coming months, that is going to be really good, which is going to help you to ascend, grow, and develop, and realize how there is so much more to you. And I feel then sometimes we can be bullheaded about things, and the guidance coming through is to think back to the past, traits that you had. What if people said to you in the past something really good that you don't hear anymore, or that, something like that, because I feel that will help you with whatever this bullheadedness is, because it could be in any area of your life. Let's look at this card, which is the Sow, and this represents the spirit of the journey, and this is about how our past lives influence us, as well as, our life right now. The sow represents the mother, the nurturing. But what I feel for you, it has links to the boar for you in this reading. And that is that to let go of the past as well. Now, I'm not relating to this part here where you're thinking about things in the past, traits you've had in the past, and utilizing them. This one is about some kind of a good trait that you had. Like, did people used to say something really good about you? Did they say you're a great listener, or that you're a great artist, or you're very kind, or things like that, and you just don't hear it anymore? Draw back on them. Or you're a great writer, or something like that. This one here is, you've come out of the woods. You can let go of the past because there is a transformation happening for you. And letting go of the past too means that you're getting this belief, you're developing this belief in the next coming months. I mean, actually right now and in the coming months, this belief of just how much potential you have. And because of that, you're letting go of the past. And that's the journey you're on at the moment. Now, the last card is, I think it's pronounced Hind or Hind. This is in the spirit of Awen. And this card represents the blessings. It's kind of like the gift from God. And it's believed to be the kind of blessings or gifts that you get that you have no control over. And I feel the blessings is that you can let go of the past now. It's a time of a new slate for you, earth signs. You're ascending. You're letting go of any patterns. You're letting go of bullheadedness so that you can rise up and see your potential and develop it more and more and more, and reaching potentials and then realizing there's so much more potential. The main message that I'm getting for you, earth element, is to let you know that you have no idea how much potential you have. So it's in the action, it's in the doing, it's in the being. The blessing is that you get this clean slate. You get this belief of just how much potential there is, and that you not just developing your potential, but the belief too that you have no idea just how much more potential you have. You have no idea just how much more there is to you. That's the blessing. And so the next couple of months, there's this really strong sense of believing in yourself. It's really, really nice spread, You're growing, you're developing, you're realizing your potential, and you're also realizing that you don't know, or you didn't realize that there's still much more to you. So thank you, Earth Elements. I hope you find this reading helpful for you in September. And I feel this reading is not just for September, but will linger into October and possibly November as well. So thank you, and I look forward to reading for you next month.